Hello viewers, today we're going to be attempting to test the Dayton 56-inch industrial ceiling fan here in the studio room. I don't know if this is going to be doable because the thing may not fit on the ceiling because there's too much stuff in here. It's going to be a freak show on multiple fronts regardless because the switch is broke. So I'm going to have to get that replaced. And what else is wrong with it? The bearings could be screwed up too. Another eBay disaster, that's what this is. Well, I wrote to the seller and they seem like a decent person. I think they're going to be willing to do a partial refund, which I think is reasonable in a case like this. I think a lot of people, they sell new open box stuff or new old stock stuff and they don't realize that stuff deteriorates when it just sits, and so it's a case of it's a legitimate mistake. They just didn't know that this was the condition. So I've got to switch the down rod over to the shorter down rod. So we have a pin here that we have to straighten out and take off or take out. So what I have to do now is I got to really think about what would be a fair partial refund amount to ask for. And I want to run one of these first just to see, because I suspect the bearings are bad. I kind of knew that going into the sale. I paid a good amount of money for these only because they're becoming scarce. And you're not going to be able to find them for much longer because they didn't hold up too well when they were used continuously like a lot of these are. So, anyways, that's the old, that's the long down rod disconnected from the thing here. Now we'll connect the shorter down rod. I gotta open this up. Oh no, it was already opened. And now here's an issue. This rod may be too long, because if it's going to hang down, I mean the blade's going to get kind of low. I may have to use a different rod. But let's see. We'll use this one at least for the test, and then I'll make a determination based on how low it hangs. I'm thinking this is going to end up in the computer room, and because there's no bed under the fan, it needs to be high enough that it's not really a legitimate hazard. You know, and if it's 2 inches above your head running at 300 RPM with metal blades, that I think is a legitimate hazard. So we're going to have to evaluate this and see what it'll do. I guess this isn't tight enough yet. Okay, so that's on. Now we got to get the motor out and get that on the other end of the rod. There's the broke chain. Yeah, I guess this did take some abuse in the shipping process. Or I don't know. You know, these have been sitting for over a decade. This could have happened any time. I don't know. I can't say that it happened in shipping. I don't know. We may never know. You know, and to be fair to the average person who knows nothing about fans, if they open it up and they see this, they probably think there's nothing wrong. You know, I know there's something wrong. I could tell you right away there's something wrong, but not everybody would notice. Most people wouldn't notice. Okay. Let's move this over here. Down a bit. Okay, so I want to take this safety cable off because I just have no way to use it. It's creating additional complication here. Alright, where does it attach? Oh, that may not be coming out. It looks like it's attached all the way down there. Desk. Okay then. Well, we'll just deal with it. Or if I could, no, I can't. I can't do anything with it because it's got to go up through the top here. Let's take this pin out. And we got to loosen this bolt. Where'd the wrench go? It's gone. Here it is. Oh, this is a nuisance and a half. Adjust the lower shaft bolt assembly, which is precision secured wiring the manufacturer. What does it say? During the manufacture of this, never adjust the never adjust the lower shaft bolt assembly, which is precision secured during the manufacturing of this fan. Well, I'd have to remove it in order to replace the bearings. Okay, so I'm going to feed all this stuff through the rod. In certain applications, the safety cable is applicable. In my application, it's just irrelevant. Okay, the wires fed through there pretty easy. And I believe this is supposed to go on the inside of the clamp here. Oh, almost forgot to put the I did forget to put the canopies on. What's worse, taking the wires out or the screws? I guess the screws. Well, that's pretty stupid. They put that screw through the plastic. Oh no, they didn't. It was just caught on there. Okay, here we go again with the wires. I'm really tempted to just cut this thing off. Coil this up really tight in here, maybe. Let's see. Okay, well, that makes things a little bit easier. Hopefully this will just kind of sit in the canopy and not cause any problems. Something tells me that's not going to happen, but it would be nice if it did. Maybe I can loop it around, or so I'll figure out something. Let's get the thing on first. Geez, I was thinking the cords went through easier when an additional thing was in there. This is kind of not aligning very nicely. The holes are in the right place, but it's hard to adjust it with the way there's so much tension on there. Probably would be easier if the canopies weren't on yet. I'm not sure how in the world that's supposed to work. This is going to have to go back so far in order to expose the hole for the pin to go through. Yeah, this should have been done without the canopies on, because it's 5 times harder with the canopies on, because they keep getting in the way. It would be better if I had the right size wrench too. Or in fact, a socket would be very good for this. Usually takes less time to just get the right tool than to try to do it with the wrong tool. That's not quite the right size. It's going to be a metric, I think, which of course is not the set that I got out. Yep, it's a metric. Now, I knew this was going to be a freak show going into it, so none of this is taking me by surprise. This is definitely going to be a case of absolutely anything and everything that will go wrong, and it will do so the entire stinking time. Nah, this is not, I can't get a grip on there. Not even sure I have a... I think I have a metric set somewhere in this room. No, I have one elsewhere, but it doesn't help at this particular moment. I do have a metric set. It's a nice old one too. Okay, the pinhole is just about all the way exposed. I guess that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's still a bit ridiculous though, because this is getting really tight. Alright, let's see if I can get that pin to go in there. Nope, I can't. I'm not going to put it any tighter than it already is, because it's ridiculous. So I'm just going to use this pin the wrong way. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes it's the only way to get something to work, is to use it incorrectly. Okay. And I'll just bend the bottom part of it out a little bit, if I can. Okay, that's not the right way to use it, but it'll work. The screw's not going to come out anymore. Okay. So now we have to deal with that pesky safety cable. I don't even like safety features, they agitate me most of the time. I think if I can wind this up enough, should be able to get it to stay where I want it to. It really has a tendency to want to fling out. It's very springy. I don't want to put any pressure on the canopy because it's only the plastic. And I think the plastic is getting a little bit brittle on this thing, because these show their age, unfortunately, pretty quickly. I think that should be okay for the video at least. Okay. Now I got to get it up onto the ceiling. Before I hang it up, I do want to take a quick look in here to see what kind of switch this is. I think I may have one of these switches on hand. So if it is a standard switch, then maybe I'll just replace it now. Okay. Okay, that is not at all a standard switch. Great. So we have multiple, we have multiple Jeez. This is not a simple regular 3-speed switch. Because we have, what it probably does is, this is the high side, low, medium, and then both of them is high. Line 1, 2, 3. But 3 jumpers back to 1. I don't understand why there's so many commons. I'm not dealing with that right now. I gotta get the meter out and make a diagram and you know, figure this out, because this is not straightforward. This one broke in such a way that I probably could glue it. The other, I bought 3 of these, and the other ones, they shattered completely apart. Oh, this one did break in 2 pieces as well. Let me see if I can glue this, because if I could spend 5 minutes gluing this, I'd rather do that and keep this original switch, which is probably going to last a lot longer than a new one anyways. Alright, let's see what we can do here. I'm going to use the crazy glue and see what transpires. Put a little bit on there, and then let's stick it to the switch and see what happens. Last time I used this glue, it didn't seem like it worked correctly. It may just be getting too old and dried out, I don't know. No, I don't have it aligned correctly. This is really frustrating. It's very seldom that I pay a lot of money for something. Sometimes I do, and it seems like almost every time it never works. It never works out. And I should have just found it cheap or already broken somewhere else and just fixed it. I can't even see how this lines up. I think maybe this is broken, and broken more than I thought it was. Oh, there we go. Now it just lined up. Can't put too much glue on here because the thing has got to be able to thread on, but this does need to be able to withstand some force. The good thing is it's pulling the switch toward itself rather than away, so it doesn't undergo too much strain. But there's still the possibility for it to break again. Because when you pull the switch, it's kind of pulling up against there. It's not putting a lot of stress on this. But, you know, it does put some strain on there. The threads are totally not aligned whatsoever. It's not going to screw on right now. That's probably going to break it trying to screw it on. You have to find some other way to salvage this, because now the problem is this isn't going to thread on right. Huh. It is threading on okay. I don't know how. Threads aren't even aligned. How the heck's it screwing on? That's ridiculous. Well, I'll take it. I'll take it. It's ridiculous though. It doesn't make any sense. Now this actually is kind of sturdy. I'm gonna let that dry for a few minutes and I'll try to screw it back on and see what happens. Alright, I'm gonna try to put it back in now. Let's see what happens. It may work. It feels kind of strong. But I'm not super confident in it either. I think the biggest issue is going to be the force of the wires up against it, because it doesn't quite sit in there exactly the way I'd like it to. Let's see here, what's the least amount of pressure? I think probably is going to be like that, maybe. Okay, it's sitting there pretty happily right now. So put this on, or this I think would go on the inside. Yeah, it would. This would go on the inside, which is a little odd. Okay, it's not wanting to go back any further than that because of the glue. Well, it's working for now. How long it's going to work for, that I don't know. Well, we'll go with it, and if it breaks, it breaks. We'll figure it out then. At least it'll be functional for the video. See, everything that can go wrong will be going wrong with this project. This is terrible. You could add a light to these, which I always thought was kind of interesting. Alright. I'm not really liking that, but I think it'll work for now. Okay, we're ready to hang it up. Okay, the first thing we gotta do is take this down. So, this is currently connected to the variable speed controller. And so, we'll have to cut the power off for this. We can leave the power on, which means we can turn that off. Since I did recently balance the blades on this to a pretty close perfection, I don't want to take the blades off. I'm just going to take the fan down as a whole and very carefully put it into the other room. What's the problem here? I think the ground is connected still. Now this box is live, these other wires are live, so we gotta use some caution here. You know, should not be this difficult. Okay, now I think it should come out. There it goes. Alright. This is just going to go right here for now. Okay. I'm going to put this Dayton onto the other hook because I think it's going to hit that shelf. So if we use this hook, lesser chance of that happening. Probably will still happen, but maybe we can avoid it. Just maybe. This is very cheap compared to the Enviro fan. Very, very cheap feeling. Okay, so now it's up, and it does, I think, hang too low. So I'm going to have to fit a shorter rod on there to figure where to get one. Although, the thing is, the blades are up here, so even though this is down here, the blades are still here. That's only... and of course this hangs down a little bit lower, so let's say the ceiling starts here. That's only 16 inches down from the ceiling. It's not totally outrageous. It may be alright. Well, anyways, for now I'm going to take this control off because I want to just see what the speeds are from the chain. So I'm going to remove this control and I'm just going to attach the wire to this plug directly. Alright, and let's just make sure that it runs before I spend the time putting the blades on. Because if the right things are going, it probably doesn't even work. Would not be surprised at all. Okay, it works. It's very noisy. The low is pretty quiet. Alright, so it does work. Let's get the blades on there. And this is where we're going to have a problem, I think, because they may collide with the other fans on the ceiling here. I'm sure none of these wrenches that are conveniently sitting on the table will fit this. Oh, it's got a screw head, but actually this one fits. These blades are heavy. Whoops. They're probably as heavy as the motor is if you combine all the weight, which is kind of ridiculous. Let's see how much this is going to collide with. It's going to hit that. We can take that down. It's going to hit that. We can take that down. It's going to clear this. It's a good choice using the second hook. Oh, it's going to clear the Emperors. That's good. I'll take those down. Alright, so that's not too bad. Just two things have to come off. I suppose it's probably easier to use the screwdriver. Yeah, it's a little bit faster. Okay. Now let's see what needs to come down here. That's okay. This will have to come down. And let's see, what about this? Yep, that's going to have to go down. And this is going to come down. Just to remove the whole thing. It'll be easier than trying to get that chain off of there. Alright. Okay, I think that's everything. It's going to hit that plug, of course. Oh, looks like my repair just broke. Okay. Alright, it's very close, but it is going to clear the Emperors. It can't hit the Emperors unless it really was out of whack. Alright, I think we're good to start it up. Well, it would be of advantage to plug it in. Start it up on low. This is making me really nervous, but I have to trust reality. Wow, it's already moving a lot of air. Kind of looks like the switch housing needs bent a little bit. I wonder if this sustained more damage than I thought. I am really impressed with the performance of this fan. It is moving an outrageous amount of air. I can feel the air moving everywhere in here, powerfully too. And it's not even going that fast. Nor is it that loud. Very impressive. And that's pulling 0.72 amps, 66 watts, power factor 0.75. So it's taking a lot of power to do what it's doing, but it's moving really good air. Let's go to the medium. It's fairly quiet, but the sound it makes is kind of annoying. Very impressive performance. And that is, whoops, there's our tripod kick for the video. That is 0.77 amps, 85 watts, and the power factor of 0.91. Now let's go all the way to high. Very, very impressive. surprised by how quiet it is. You can hear the whirring of the blades, but it's otherwise very quiet. And that's 1.01 amps, 118 watts with a power factor of 0.97. So as far as power draw is concerned, it's right where it claims it's supposed to be. This is now stuck in there. Okay. Doesn't seem like it's going all that fast either. At least not like any faster than a regular ceiling fan would be. It's good blade design on these. I like it. Alright, so now what I want to do, since the low speed is a bit too fast for my preference, I want to get that 4-speed control out again and see if I can connect this to that 4-speed control and get some better results. I could try it with that too, but I'd rather use the 4-speed so it's quiet. Okay, here's the 4-speed control. So let's get this going here. Okay, so let's see here what this does. This is just becoming increasingly more tangled. I'm not sure why. Let's see how this behaves. So first I'll set the fan to high, as it would be intended to operate with a control like this. And let's see what the low speed is. Huh, it may be good. Or it could be too slow. I'll bump it up to 3 for a minute. Now I'll go back down to 4. See what it maintains, if anything. It's pulling 0.2 amps and it was doing 0.7 on low before, so I think this is going to be too slow. Now let's try 3. 3 is 0.35 amps. That's actually pretty good. That's almost right about where I'd want it. And of course, what I could do to control it more precisely is I could take this down to medium. Or even low, perhaps. Doesn't seem to be making much difference. Huh, okay. Well, number 3 on this control is quite a good low. It's slow enough that it's inaudible, but it's still moving air. Wow, that's actually just about perfect. Huh, well, what do you know? Some part of this is working out very well. Yeah, that's the low speed that I want. Okay, cool. So that's going to work. Let's go up to 2. That's kind of a decent, like, breeze speed. You know, if you need some air moving, that's not bad. And then in theory, number 1 should just take it back up to full speed. And then at that point you could use the chain to go back to the stock medium or low speeds. This is back to 4, and that's 0.21 amps, 0.19 amps. Let's see if it stalls. Very interesting to see how different fans respond to different controls. The gold line was terrible with the with this control. The speed range was awful. In this speed range, you know, 4 is useless. And 2 isn't quite fast enough, but 3 is a perfect low. I think it's pretty steady right there. I don't know, it doesn't seem to me like it's slowing down at all. It's 0.21 amps. And that's number 4 on the control. This is the slowest speed you could get out of it with this control. Yeah, it's holding there. The breeze is just ever so slight. Probably not quite enough to be useful. So I'd say number 3 is going to be the low speed. It's got a bit of a wobble to it. And it kind of straightens itself out. Yeah, this is a good low speed. It's enough to feel the ears moving, but it's not going to create like a major draft that's going to cause a chill. This will be perfect just to circulate the heat around. Nice. Perfect. Okay. So that's going to work with this 3-speed control, and it's silent. I don't hear any motor hum or anything like that. Great. Great. Okay. Finally, something about this project worked out. So, just out of curiosity, let's try the variable speed control and see how it responds to that. I'm sure it'll probably hum quite a bit, but let's see. It doesn't really matter, it's just a curiosity. If this 4-speed control will give me the speed range I want, which it will, then this is what I will use. Now the Enviro fan is going to need this because it's not going to work with this. This does not. The 4-speed didn't give it a good range. Okay. see what this does. Yeah, there's a hum, but it's not that bad. There's no, like I said, there's no reason to use this over the 4-speed because the 4-speed gives me the speeds I want. But this isn't terrible. Okay, so that's that. Hums, not outrageously, but we're not going to use it with this. There's just no need to. Alright, so that's cool. So this one is good to go. The other two, I think the switch has shattered beyond what I can glue, but after looking at the switch, I think I'd rather try and glue it than try to replace it if possible, because it's not going to be super straightforward. So anyways, I'm not sure if this is going to go in the computer room or this is going to go in the bedroom. I'm thinking the Enviro fan for the bedroom and this in the computer room, maybe, perhaps. Got to think about it. Got to figure out the control situation too, because it's not going to be simple. But that's that, and it's a pretty cool fan.